Raider Nation, what's going on? You guys are watching the Raiders Report, and coming up here on today's show, I got news and rumors around Derek Carr, Marcus Mariota, and I figured I'd give you an updated look at some potential candidates for the next Raiders head coaching gig. Before I get into everything, my favorite Raider of all time is Bo Jackson, and I want to wish Bo a very special happy birthday. So every single person that comes across this video today, I want you to type Bo, I want you to type 34, you can type GOAT, because I really truly believe that Bo Jackson is the greatest athlete of all time, being an all-star in the MLB and being an all-pro running back in the NFL. Happy birthday, Bo. So seriously, type Bo. All right, let's talk about our quarterback now. That's Derek Carr. And I found this pretty interesting story. And Warner, he's out there, Kurt Warner, NFL Hall of Fame quarterback, trying to do YouTube videos, which, I appreciate. And he went on today and said that he believes Derek Carr is as good as any quarterback in the NFL. He also said, but that's only when Derek Carr plays aggressive football. But I understand that Kurt's been a fan of DC, and I'm a fan of DC, but I actually 100% agree with everything that Warner says in his quote, simply because when you watch Derek play, he is a phenomenal quarterback. He has all the athletic ability. Sure, some people are going to be like, oh, well, he can't run the ball. I beg to differ. He hit 19 miles per hour last week, which is actually one of the fastest times a Raiders player had all of last week. So in terms of DC, when you look at a lot of stuff, a lot of the intangibles that he brings to the table, Carr is elite when he is aggressive. But the other word that I think Warner forgot was confident, because how many times over the last, 6, 7, 8 years now, when Carr's out there and he's got that swagger and he's got that look in his eyes, he's going to be able to throw the ball down the field, and he's got everything working. But then you also see, and other NFL players say it as well, when he doesn't have that confidence, when he's not aggressive, I'll say it right now, I really believe he is a below-average quarterback. The peaks and the valleys is the reason why Raider fans get so upset with Carr, because you can watch him one game, you're like, who the hell is this guy? He's a front runner for MVP. And then the very next week, you're like, wait a minute, that's not the same guy that showed up. People like Derek Carr, but he is a little bit inconsistent. And I do agree, though, with what Warner said. Now, here's the exact quote from Kurt Warner on Derek Carr. As the Raiders have been up and down all year, they really go as Derek Carr goes. A lot of people out there love him, hate him. I think he's a really, really good quarterback when he plays aggressive football. He can be as good as anybody in the National Football League. Now, as it stands right now, Carr's got 67.3% completion percentage, 3,414 yards, 17 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. My question to everyone out there, and for everyone who is also watching live, it's actually the live poll, so go ahead and vote, because I see 85% of the votes are saying yes. Do you believe in Derek Carr? Type Y for yes. Or I want you to scroll on down in the YouTube comments, and I want you to type N for no. Do you believe in Derek Carr? Yes. Or I want you to go ahead and type N for no. I'm going to sit here and say, yes, I absolutely do believe in Derek Carr. And I've been probably one of the guys who've been hyping up the MVP train, because earlier in the season, he was absolutely the front runner. But you have to admit there are still way too many questions of why he can't do certain things when it matters the most. And when I really think about Derek Carr, I think his career is a lot like his play. And what do I mean by that exactly? DC is phenomenal at being able to move the ball down the field. But when it matters the most, he can't quite get it in the end zone. And I also think that's how his career has gone. He plays great to start the season, and for whatever reason, he just can't get it done quite at the end. And that's why Raider Nation sometimes really just doesn't know what to do with DC, because you can see the talent, you can see everything there, but then when it really comes down to the nitty-gritty, yards are great, but people want touchdowns. Beginning wins of the season are great, but people want wins at the end of the season, and they want wins in the playoffs. It's kind of the same thing. Passing yards, early wins, touchdowns, late wins, playoff wins. That's kind of been Derek Carr's MO. But I will say this. You have to be confident in DC, because everything he's been able to do this season, and I really hope that the Raiders this week up against Washington chuck the ball, man. Let Derek Carr cook, throw it all over the football field. I get that they want to try to establish the run with Jacobs, who is coming off a pretty good game. But you are 6-0 when Carr throws for over 300 yards. I think it's two reasons. One, he gets his mojo working. He gets that confidence up, and he's like, all right, shit, I can do this. And then that sets up your running game. That sets up other things going on. And, yes, the offense is actually, believe it or not, better with Deshaun Jackson on there and when Derek Carr's chucking it all around the field. The other thing about DC, I really do believe is got great talent, okay? This is going back to I believe in him, but I really don't believe that he is mentally strong. And when you talk, or when he talks a lot of times, not that I think that he has his tail between his legs, but he tries to be over too confident or maybe too positive instead of really just telling you the truth. Carr's great talent, but mentally a little bit weak. So in terms of some DC stats, I love some DC stats, and I found obviously some of these. If you already follow me on Twitter, you know that I put this out there, at Mitchell Renz 365. Derek Carr does currently lead the NFL in passing yards with 3,414 yards. Obviously very impressive. A bad quarterback could never do that. I will also say, though, touchdowns, he is by far the least amount out of all of these dudes, but it's also kind of crazy that Herbert, Mahomes, 3 quarterbacks out of the AFC West, all on there. Coming up right now, I got a really awesome Raiders stat. That one was cool. But this next one I got coming up here, y'all, it is really flipping awesome. But before I tell you about it, if you want awesome Raider stats, if you want news, if you want rumors, free videos all the time, we are the #1 most watched Raiders channel on YouTube for a reason, because we're the voice of the nation, and yeah, we got pretty good content around here, I think. So hit that subscribe button. Make sure you're tuning in every single Tuesday when I go live, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. But bottom line, if you're a Raider fan, you're looking for daily news, rumors, hit that sub button. Why don't you turn on those noties as well? All right, y'all, here's my really cool stat. Right now, the Raiders are on pace to be actually one of the most explosive offenses in NFL history. And you're like, wait a minute, huh? Most 20-plus yard passing plays in NFL history. Now, this stat started in 1991, so I just want to throw that out there, all right? But this is through the first 12 weeks of the NFL season. The 2021 Raiders have 58 passing plays of 20-plus yards. The 2018 Chiefs are the only team with 58. If you go through and look at some of these teams, 2014 Colts, led by Peyton Manning. 2018 Rams, that team was pretty damn good if you ask me. The 2000 Rams, Kurt Warner, we just talked about him earlier, like the greatest show on turf. The Raiders' offense is really clicking, and it's because, believe it or not, Derek Carr's one hell of a quarterback. So I wanted to be able to give you guys my 2 cents on DC simply because you can't go anywhere right now on Twitter, anything like that, without seeing a little bit of Derek Carr debate. All right, coming up right now, we're going to get into the latest around Marcus Mariota, and I found a pretty interesting quote from head coach Rich Bisaccia that I wanted to take a little bit more of a deeper dive on, and it was funny because I saw one of the comments earlier on when we were live that said, hey, Mitch, I think the Raiders watch your YouTube channel because they're using Mariota in the red zone now. Well, guess what? Rich Bisaccia said, I think Marcus Mariota will be part of the packages going forward. I've also never seen a fan base more obsessed with Marcus Mariota package, but hey, that's just me. The Raiders do need to be better in the red zone. Nobody's going to dispute that. Bisaccia said, and this is really important, and this is actually one of the reasons why I do like DC, because I really think Carr is all about winning. I think he's all about the Raiders. I mean, not many people would say I would rather retire than play with another football team. And you can see when Mariota scored that touchdown this past week against Dallas, Carr was super stoked. In fact, I put it on the thumbnail of today's live video. He was really, really excited. But all I got out of that was Bisaccia, they're going to use Marcus Mariota a little bit more. Now, if you like that idea, if you want to go ahead and bet on the Raiders, you guys can do it at one place and one place only. Shout out to our sportsbook partner, BetUS. If you want to know how to get the best deal on the internet, you got to go to chatsports.com/Raiders. Promo code Raiders125. It's going to get you 125% deposit bonus. So if you put down $100, you actually get $125 for free to bet with. And as it stands right now, the Raiders 3-point favorites over the Washington football team. So if you think they're going to win and go to 7-5, you want another reason to bet? The coin predicted the Raiders to win. Chatsports.com/Raiders. All right, here's what Rich Bisaccia had to say on Monday. I think you saw Greg Olsen do a great job of this week. Is we had to get him in there multiple times, and he ends up scoring a touchdown for us because of his athletic ability and what he can do in certain situations. But certainly, what we are asking him to do, without giving it too much away, I think he is hopefully going to be part of the packages as we go forward. He practices like he's preparing to play all the time, and the other thing is really hard to take number 4, Derek Carr, out from behind center as well, especially if he's playing the way he played on Thanksgiving Day. So what I got out of this. Rich Bisaccia really truly believes that Mariota is going to get some snaps going forward in the games. And I'm not asking him to play the entire game. I'm not asking him to bench Derek Carr. All I'm saying is this. The Raiders' offense needs to have a little bit more flavor, if you will. So how many snaps will Mariota get this week? The number that I'm going to go around, I really think if you can be around 5 to 7 snaps, that's probably the realistic number. But at the end of the day, if he gets that extra first down, if he can help you in the red zone, why not throw him out there just a little bit more? But you guys let me know, how many snaps for Marcus Mariota this week? So now what we're going to be talking about is some Raiders head coaching search. About 2 months ago, I made a video called John Gruden Replacements. If you haven't seen it yet, it's got over 40,000 views, another reason to subscribe to the Raiders Report. But recently, the top thing that I've been hearing is who's going to be the next Raiders head coach? Who's going to be the Raiders' next head coach? And it's because Raiders owner Mark Davis literally said that he's not really eager at this current point to look forward and see who's going to be that next head coach. He's focusing on the playoffs. He's comfortable with Rich Bisaccia, who's right now the interim head coach. Now, before I give you guys my updated 5 head coaching candidate list, who do you want to be the next head coach of the Silver and Black? And when I was, looking before today's live show, I had a lot of different answers like John Madden, Rich Gannon, heck, Jack Del Rio. I hate to break it to you, none of those dudes are on this list. Also, I also saw somebody say, offense this, but defense wins championships. I'm going to respectfully disagree with the way that the NFL is kind of just going. I want an offensive-minded coach. But let me know before I give you guys my top 5. Who do you want as the Raiders' next HC? All right, here we go. We're going to go from 5 and work our way all the way down to 1. Coming in at number 5, I'm going to go with Byron Leftwich, offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Leftwich played in the NFL from 2003 to 2012. He has coached in the NFL since 2017, and he definitely has a reputation for being aggressive and an offensive-minded coach. You see that word aggressive? Well, you know what? I want somebody that's aggressive because I still think that DC could be the quarterback of the Raiders next season. When's Derek Carr the best? When he's aggressive. Byron Leftwich is learning underneath Bruce Arians. I think the only guy maybe more aggressive than Byron might actually be Bruce Arians. So let's go ahead and bring him in. Also, he got to play with Tom Brady. I know that probably kills you guys, but Tom Brady's pretty good. Let's go to number 4 on my list. Eric Bieniemy, offensive coordinator of the Kansas City Chiefs. Anytime you can steal somebody within your division, look at Gus Bradley. I really think it can help out the team, the unit a lot. Bieniemy is a pretty creative dude, which, again, is something that I'm looking for this Raiders offense. The only reason why I'm going to drop him down a little bit on my list is because I could see the Raiders being, what's a good word to put it? There's a lot of background crap with Bieniemy. For those that don't know, you guys can go ahead, you can Google him. He had some stuff in the background that it's obviously not that great. And with everything that went on with John Gruden, everything that went on with Henry Ruggs, I could see the Raiders dropping down Bieniemy in their terms of he's a top candidate because of that. But if you're just talking about football knowledge and you just want somebody that can move the ball down the field, I do think Eric Bieniemy is one hell of a coach. Now, one of the things that we've been talking about for a very long time is what's going to replace the Chucky head. Well, here's the final tally. The Just Win babies, they're the new rumor head. They went ahead, they beat the Raiders Shield. The result was 201 to 199. So what I said before was this. Everything, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube poll, and then Chat Sports community, everybody voted. And in terms of points, between Twitter, IG, everything was 100 points. So a total of 400. This is how the votes ended up coming out. It was literally as close as it possibly could have gotten, but the Just Win babies, they ended up coming out on top. Now, before I decide, start putting out Just Win babies everywhere, if you have an idea of what the Just Win baby could look like, send me how you think it should look at Mitchell Renz 365 on Instagram. If you want to DM me a picture on Twitter, you can go ahead and do so, but I will be looking at Mitchell Renz 365 on Instagram. So far, my favorite, though, I did have a fan, he sent me a Just Win baby photo about 2 months ago that so far this is my personal favorite. It's the front runner. If somebody thinks that they can beat this, seriously, DM me a picture at Mitchell Renz 365. Let's go to number 3, somebody who a lot of people would probably consider kind of a baby since he's so young. Joe Brady, offensive coordinator of the Carolina Panthers. I would actually say most famously known for what he did with Joe Burrow and that LSU offense just a few years ago. But there was a report probably 2 months ago at this point, that Brady would actually be the Raiders' top option. When I saw what he was able to do with Burrow and how creative he was, I really truly believe that the NFL is going to start bringing in some of these younger college coaches that have also had some experience, because I want somebody who's bright, young-minded, who really knows how to get the offense going. Coming in at number 2, I'm going to go with Kellen Moore, offensive coordinator to the Dallas Cowboys. I watched Kellen this past week. I was actually very impressed with the way he was able to get that Cowboys offense to work without their top 2 receivers. So I talked to Tom a lot. Obviously, I live down here in Dallas, and I really haven't heard anything bad about Moore. He didn't win the Heisman Trophy in 2010. He was actually one of the finalists there for Boise State. Sure, he wasn't a very good NFL quarterback, but when you hear people talk about him, a lot of people bring him up as one of the best young minds in the National Football League, and that's somebody that I want. Now, when I did my John Gruden video, the very, very first time in terms of replacements, the guy that was number 1 on this list stays number 1 on this list. But before I tell you who that is, who do you want as the Raiders' next head coach? Let me know down in the comments section, because at the end of the day, man, I do genuinely want to know what you guys are thinking. So who do you want as the Raiders' next head coach? For me, it stays the same. It's Brian Daboll, offensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills. I get it. Buffalo has had their struggles. They really have. But Josh Allen, to me, his development as a quarterback really goes on Brian Daboll. Not only that, he was an NFL Assistant of the Year in 2020, and he's coached with Bill Belichick and Nick Saban. I have tremendous respect for Belichick and for Saban, the greatest NFL coach of all time and the greatest college coach of all time. And I could actually really see somebody like Mark Davis taking a lot of that into consideration and going out and hiring Brian Daboll, but I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. Now, here, guys, one more time, my updated look at the Raiders head coach candidates: Byron Leftwich, Eric Bieniemy, Joe Brady, Kellen Moore, Brian Daboll. If somebody wants to take a screenshot of this, post it on Twitter, post it on IG. All I ask that you do is make sure you tag me, Mitchell Renz 365.